right, so we're going to be looking at the page 155, okay? This is going to be what we talked about out in the grammar book last week, but we're going to be doing some practice with that, okay? So we're going to be deciding if sentences are simple or compound. If a sentence is simple, it will have one independent clause. Now, that doesn't mean that it'll have just one subject or one verb. It could have multiple of those, but it will only have one independent clause. The compound sentence, on the other hand, is going to have, for this case on this paper, two independent clauses, okay? So it could have more, but for this paper's purposes, it's going to have two. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the subjects and verbs here. We have number one, if you look, you should see raises and sells, and then you're going to say, who raises and sells? And the answer is going to be Michelle. And in that case, I just have one independent clause. Michelle raises and sells. So this sentence is going to be simple. Okay? If we look at number two, you should see, did you read the book or did you see the movie? Now, hopefully you've marked your verbs. Did and read, and did and see. Okay, and our subject is you and you. Who read, who saw, you. Okay. Notice between the two of them, I have a comma and the conjunction or. And so these, I have two independent clauses, and this sentence is labeled as compound. Let's look at the next one. You should have discussed and analyzed, and then my subject is who discussed and analyzed, and the answer is leaders. If you had world leaders, that would be okay too. But I don't have a conjunction with a comma. I do have this one here, but it's not connecting two independent clauses. It's just connecting these words. So this sentence is simple. Okay. On this one, our verbs are sent and forgot, and say who sent and who forgot, I and I. And then if you notice between the two of them, I have this conjunction but and a comma. So I have one independent clause here and one independent clause here. This sentence is compound. Let's look at number 5. We have will be taken. And what will be taken? Pictures. That's the only subject and verb I have in this. I have one independent clause. The sentence is simple. Throw in my pen. All right, let's look at our verb here. I have is and seems. What is? Radio. What seems? It. And notice I have my comma and my conjunction. So this sentence, I have one independent clause here and one here. This one is compound. All right, Maureen typed her report and then proofread it for errors. I have typed and proofread. Who did the typing and the proofreading? Maureen. And notice that I have an and here, but there's no comma with it, so it's not an independent on both sides because there's no subject over here. I just have one independent clause. This is simple. All right, we should have lifted and could see. That's my verb there. Who could see? We. What lifted? The fog. Notice that I have a comma and a conjunction. I have independent here and independent here. So this one is compound. Eve likes using our pool at night because of its underwater lights. We have likes and we have Eve. And that's all I have here. So this one has one independent clause. This one's going to be simple. All right, on number 10, my verb is will buy. Who will buy? Arlo. Okay, my subject and my verb. It's the only subject and verb I have. One independent clause. This one is simple as well. Okay, this one, number 11 is kind of tricky. Okay, I have my verbs prepare and start. Who prepares? I'm going to have a you. And you start. Okay. So notice that these are put together not by a conjunction and a comma, but by a semicolon. So I have an independent clause here and an independent clause here with understood use as the subject, but still I've got two of them. So this sentence is compound. Okay, on number 12, I did hospital work, but only as a volunteer, not for pay. So did is my verb, who did? I. Okay. And I do have a conjunction here, but it's only joining words, not clauses. So I only have one independent clause. This is just a simple one. Okay. All right, we have play and like. Who likes? They. And who plays? Harry and girlfriend. Notice that between the two, I have a conjunction and a comma. So this one's independent, compound. Let's look at 14. Checks and does. Now, who checks and who does? The answer is Jan. That's my subject. But I don't have a subject on this side, and there's no comma. So this one only has one independent. It's simple. Okay? Here we have bake and make, and we have who's doing the baking and the making? Mom and Graham. But notice this one's kind of tricky because we do have two subjects and we do have two verbs, but they're not on independent clauses. They're just compound subjects, compound verbs. They're not in a separate clause. So I only have one independent clause, and this one is simple. Okay? All right. Here we have and look. I is my subject and none here. I have the comma, the conjunction, and so this one's going to be compound. Okay, you try 17 through 20 on your own, and then upload that assignment here on Google Classroom. If you have questions, let me know.